Okay, so it's a weekly call on the PHP 7.2 support on Magento 2 project. And let's go through the updates that we have. So I'll start from my side. I was working with internal DevOps team on making internal builds ready for PHP 7.2, and it's done. Now we can run all our builds on PHP 7.2, as well as there are no builds that can be run on 7.0, so we won't have, we shouldn't have issues after the Symfony for upgrade task is done, which basically includes also removal of PHP 7.0. So this is one thing that I was doing. I was also reviewing the pull request. Let me show what we have here. So it was here before, but there were some updates and some additional decisions made. So basically, Travis configuration was updated, and then also all the updates of PHP version were merged to the same pull request. So right now we are saying that we are supporting PHP version starting from 7.1.3, and we use this version because I think Symfony library does not support lower versions, so in any case it means that Magento won't be compatible with lower versions. And yeah, 7.2 is added. So 7.0 is removed and 7.2 is added for all Composer JSON files. And additionally, some libraries were updated. Yeah, I think that's it about this pull request. We are processing it right now. There were some changes that we agreed to, and those are removal of the changes from functional tests, because we will probably be doing it in a separate task, because functional tests can be run as a separate process, so it's not really necessary to update the versions right now, and it may also involve some framework changes, so it may make our task bigger. So that's one thing. Then another thing is I want to remind about the design document for removing mcrypt and adding libsodium. So right now there was one round of review internally with architects, and there was some feedback and updates made. So now we are in the second round of the review. I think we will be updating this document soon. And then one organizational thing. I added a milestone here, which is 230. So basically I put all the tasks that we want to be done by 2.3.0 of Magento. And yeah, so basically it's the main focus right now, and Piotr also went through the tasks and prioritized them, so they should be in the ordered by priority right now. Encryptance and framework are still in investigation, and I think Ben will have some updates here. So basically we have 2 more people joining us from Magento team. It's Ben and Jacob. So they are helping us with all this work. That's all updates from my side. Ben, maybe you want to go through what you've been doing.
Sure. So for my own work, I was taking a look at our usage of GF1 components, as well as any usages we could find in the marketplace. And so kind of building off of some of Olga's previous work on doing this analysis, I was able to, let's see here, make sure I'm doing this right. Hey, cool. Update a spreadsheet with individual Zen modules as well as our usages. So you can see here our usage in Magento in a different pieces and products within our company, and then looking at usage within the marketplace and filtering out lines that were comments, previous versions of modules, or any modules that were simply just not supported, that had basically been abandoned. I was able to get an accurate count of how often individual modules are actually used by the marketplace. And this will kind of inform what modules within ZF1 we can safely remove and not worry about updating and maintaining. I think my goal is to try and get us to a very thin version of the ZF1 framework so that there is less cruft, less noise, less that we potentially need to maintain, and also less that other developers might start depending on in the future that we then get locked into supporting going forward. So I kind of operate under this philosophy that the less code, the better. So I should, in a little while later this morning, have a final list of these modules that I propose that we eliminate entirely, that should not cause, or at least cause minimal backwards compatibility issues for ourselves or our integrators, and maintain or make it easier for us to maintain them going forward and not worry about this issue when 7.3 comes out. So that's what I was working on.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. And just some background for people who just joined. So why we have Zen Framework here is because Zen Framework 1 is not maintained by Zen anymore, as you may know, and Magento has to maintain it because we still use it. So our goal and scope of this project is to make Zen Framework 1 compatible with PHP 7.2. And one of the approaches that we have is just to clean up the Zen Framework. So remove libraries that are not used. So it should reduce our scope of work for 7.2. So as
they're definitely ones that we are not going to remove at this point in time, such as NDBs and HTTP, that, these big kind of heavy ones that are used throughout our code as well as the marketplace code. So, don't want to make anybody too worried about losing their compatibility.
Yeah, and I think as we will be removing libraries, we will communicate like which ones we are going to remove, so everybody can be prepared. And so the next step, I think, will be to figure out what exact backwards incompatibilities we have in Zen Framework 1 and fix them in the remaining libraries. So that's the plan.
And so far, I've identified one very simple one within Zen Cache where it's using the each method, which has been deprecated, and swapping that out for each actually was very straightforward, and I think is going to be a simple fix for a lot of potential things. So should be, I'm optimistic.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Ben. So that's our main updates, I think, and we're still working on the mcrypt question. So I think we'll have some solution, some proposed solution soon. We're still considering whether we really should migrate to libsodium and refactor our encryption implementation a little bit, or should we just make the smallest changes possible just to make Magento 2.3 compatible with PHP 7.2, and in that with that approach we might just use mcrypt compat library, so we can still move on to the 7.2. So yeah, that's all updates. Any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, thank you all. If you want to join the project, feel free to contact me. I'm on the Slack or on the Twitter. You can also find my email in Slack, I think so. So thanks all, and see you next time.